The conversation had happened in my aunt's living room during what was supposed to be a casual family brunch. My cousin Vanessa was getting married to Gregory Hartwell, whose family name appeared on buildings throughout the city. The Hartwell Medical Center, Hartwell Hall at the university, the Hartwell Foundation for the Arts. It's going to be the social event of the year, Vanessa announced, scrolling through something on her tablet. Gregory's family has connections with everyone who matters. We're keeping the guest list very selective. My Aunt Margaret beamed with pride. Vanessa is marrying into one of the city's founding families. This wedding will be covered in all the society pages. I'd smiled politely and taken another bite of my omelet, already sensing where this was headed. My family had a pattern of valuing certain types of success over others, and I'd long since learned that my particular path didn't register on their radar. Emma, Vanessa said, turning to me with an expression of practiced sympathy, I wanted to talk to you about the wedding. Of course, I said. What date did you settle on? June 15th. But here's the thing, she glanced at her mother, who nodded encouragingly. We're keeping the guest list strictly high society. Old money families, business leaders, political figures. The Hartwells are very particular about maintaining certain standards. I see, I said neutrally. My Uncle Robert cleared his throat. What Vanessa is trying to say, Emma, is that this wedding has significant social implications. The guest list reflects the family's positions in the community. And you, well, he paused delicately, you're still working in the nonprofit sector, aren't you? I am, I confirmed. Vanessa leaned forward, her voice taking on that tone people use when they think they're being kind but are actually being condescending. Emma, you're doing wonderful work, I'm sure. Nonprofits are so important. But this wedding is about connecting influential families. Gregory's father is on the boards of 3 Fortune 500 companies. His mother chairs the museum's executive committee. These people, they're used to a certain level of achievement and prominence. And you think I don't have that, I said, keeping my voice level. It's not that you don't have it, my aunt interjected quickly. It's that you've chosen a different path. A noble path. Helping people, working at that little charity. The Foundation for Urban Education Reform, I supplied. That's where I work. Yes, exactly, Vanessa said. Which is admirable. But it's not exactly the kind of background that fits with the Hartwell social circle. You'd feel out of place, and honestly it would be awkward for everyone trying to explain. She waved her hand vaguely. What you do? My younger brother Daniel, who'd been silent until now, spoke up. This is messed up, Vanessa. Emma's family. You can't just exclude her because she doesn't fit your social climbing criteria. Daniel, my uncle said sharply, this isn't your concern. Vanessa is being practical. Practical, Daniel repeated incredulously. Is that what we're calling it? I put my hand on Daniel's arm. It's fine. It's not fine. Daniel. It's okay. I looked at Vanessa. I understand. You want to curate your guest list to reflect a certain image. That's your choice. Vanessa looked relieved. I'm so glad you understand. It's nothing personal. Of course not, I agreed, though we both knew it was entirely personal. What they didn't know, what they'd never bothered to ask about, was what I actually did at the Foundation for Urban Education Reform. They'd heard nonprofit and education, and filed me away in a category labeled well-meaning but unsuccessful. They didn't know that I'd founded the organization 7 years ago, that we'd grown from a small volunteer operation to a $50 million annual budget, that we'd built partnerships with 37 school districts across 5 states, that our programs had improved literacy rates, increased college enrollment, and changed thousands of students' lives. They didn't know that I'd personally donated $8 million of my own money to the foundation, money from a tech startup I'd sold before pivoting to education work. They didn't know that I sat on advisory boards for 2 federal education initiatives. They didn't know that I'd been profiled in education journals, that university researchers studied our programs, or that the Department of Education had invited me to testify before Congress twice. They didn't know because they'd never asked. I'd kept my success private, partly for security reasons and partly because I'd learned early that when people knew about your wealth, they treated you differently. I'd wanted my foundation's work to speak for itself, not be overshadowed by conversations about money. And I'd been curious, in a detached way, about how long my family would maintain their narrative about my little charity work, without ever asking substantive questions. The answer apparently was indefinitely. The months leading up to the wedding were a masterclass in social exclusion. Every pre-wedding event happened without me. The engagement party, the bridal showers, the rehearsal dinner. I received no invitations. When I asked Daniel about it, he was furious on my behalf. "They're completely rewriting family history," he told me over coffee. "At the engagement party, someone asked about you and Aunt Margaret said you were traveling for work. They're pretending you don't exist because it's easier than admitting they excluded you." "Let them," I said. "I'm actually quite busy with work right now anyway." And I was. The timing of Vanessa's wedding coincided with something much more significant: the announcement of a major policy initiative based on our foundation's work. We'd spent 3 years collecting data, proving outcomes, and building political support for expanded education funding. After months of negotiation, the mayor and city council were finally ready to announce the initiative publicly. The press conference was scheduled for June 15 at 2 o'clock. Vanessa's wedding ceremony was at 4. The coincidence felt almost poetic. On the morning of June 15, I woke up to a flurry of messages from my team. The press conference was generating significant media attention. National education publications were sending reporters. Local news stations were planning live coverage. The mayor's office had confirmed that several city council members, the superintendent of schools, and even the governor's education advisor would be attending. "Emma, this is huge," my deputy director Sarah said during our morning strategy call. "We're about to see systemic change based on our model. Do you understand how rare that is?" I did understand. 7 years of work was about to influence policy that would affect thousands of students. It was the kind of impact that made every difficult moment, every funding challenge, every bureaucratic obstacle worthwhile. The press conference was held in the city council chambers. As I arrived, I saw the media setup. Multiple camera crews, reporters from major outlets, photographers positioned throughout the room. This was being treated as a significant news event. Mayor Patricia Rodriguez greeted me warmly. "Emma, thank you for your incredible work on this. Your foundation's research and pilot programs gave us the evidence base we needed to make this happen." "It's a collaborative effort," I said. "We're just one part of the team." "Don't be modest," she said. "Your foundation is the backbone of this initiative. Everyone knows that." The press conference began precisely at 2. Mayor Rodriguez outlined the new education initiative, a $200 million commitment over 5 years to expand literacy programs, increase teacher support, and improve educational resources in underserved communities. The model was based directly on our foundation's work. This wouldn't be possible without the groundbreaking work of the Foundation for Urban Education Reform and its founder, Emma Hartwell, the mayor said, gesturing for me to join her at the podium. Wait, I hadn't changed my name. My cousin's married name would be Hartwell. My name was Emma Collins. The mayor caught her mistake immediately. "I apologize, Emma Collins. Though interestingly, Emma, I understand you have family connection to the Hartwell family." "My cousin is marrying into the family," I said. "Actually getting married today, in fact." "Well, send them our congratulations," the mayor said warmly. Now, Emma has agreed to take a few questions about the foundation's work. The next 45 minutes were spent discussing our research, our program outcomes, and the implementation plan for the new initiative. Reporters asked about funding models, scalability, teacher training, and community engagement. I answered thoroughly, backed by data and real-world examples. A reporter from the education publication asked, "Ms. Collins, your foundation has become one of the most influential voices in urban education reform. You've advised federal initiatives, testified before Congress, and now influenced major policy change. How does it feel to have this level of impact?" "It feels like responsibility," I answered honestly. "Every policy decision affects real children, real families. We take that seriously and will continue working to ensure these programs deliver on their promise." As the press conference concluded, my phone began buzzing. Messages from colleagues, congratulations from other nonprofit leaders, and, increasingly, notifications that the press conference was being covered live by local news stations. My phone rang. It was Daniel. Turn on Channel 7. Right now." I excused myself from the final conversations and found a quiet corner where I could pull up the live stream on my phone. Channel 7 was doing extensive coverage of the press conference. My image filled the screen as the anchor discussed the education initiative and the foundation's role. "That's a big deal," Sarah said, appearing beside me. "Live coverage on a Saturday afternoon. They're treating this as a major story." It was a major story. $200 million in new education funding, policy changes that would affect the entire city, a model that other cities would likely study and potentially replicate. "Emma," Sarah continued, "you should probably know, this is going viral on local social media. Someone posted a photo of you with the mayor and it's being shared widely. People are tagging you, talking about the foundation's work." My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. "Ms. Collins? This is Janet Morrison from the mayor's office. Mayor Rodriguez wanted me to reach out. She's been invited to a wedding this afternoon, the Hartwell-Collins wedding." "Hartwell-Collins?" I repeated, confused. "Yes, Gregory Hartwell is marrying Vanessa Collins. The mayor received a last-minute invitation when Gregory's father heard she'd be in town for your press conference. She was planning to decline, but given the connection, both events involving Collins family members, she wanted to check if you'd be attending. She thought it might be a nice opportunity to continue celebrating today's success." I understood immediately what had happened. Someone in the Hartwell family had watched the press conference, realized that the Emma Collins who'd just been praised by the mayor was related to Vanessa Collins, and suddenly decided having the mayor at the wedding would be a social coup. "I wasn't invited to the wedding," I said carefully. There was a pause. "I'm sorry, I don't understand. It's your cousin's wedding." "The guest list was strictly high society," I explained. "I work in the nonprofit sector, which didn't meet their standards." Another pause, longer this time. "Ms. Collins, are they aware that you founded one of the most influential education nonprofits in the state? That you just helped secure a $200 million policy initiative?" "They're aware I work at a little charity," I said. The details beyond that didn't interest them. "I see." Janet's voice had cooled significantly. "Well, the mayor will likely decline the invitation then. She has strong feelings about organizations that undervalue education work." After we hung up, I checked social media. Sarah was right, the press conference coverage was everywhere. Photos of me with the mayor, clips of my remarks, discussions about the foundation's impact. And increasingly, I saw comments from people who'd made the connection. "Wait, isn't there a big society wedding today with the Hartwell family? Is this the same Emma Collins?" At 3:30, my phone rang with a number I recognized. My Aunt Margaret. "Emma." Her voice was strained. "Emma, we need you to come to the wedding. Right now." "I wasn't invited, Aunt Margaret. Remember." "There's been a misunderstanding," my aunt said quickly. "Of course you were invited. Your family. It must be a mix-up." "There's no mix-up," I said. "Vanessa uninvited me because I work in nonprofits and don't fit her high society image." "Emma, please," my aunt said. "The mayor's office called. She asked if you'd attend. Gregory's father is furious. He's asking why we excluded the Emma Collins who just secured $200 million in education funding." "And now I'm acceptable?" I asked. "Now that you know I have power?" "It's not like that." "It's exactly like that," I said. "I was an embarrassment when you thought I worked for a little charity. Now I'm family again because I'm successful." I heard voices in the background, people arguing, nervous. "Emma, Vanessa is crying," my aunt said. "The mayor declined the invitation. Guests are asking why you're not here. This is humiliating for her." "I understand," I said. "Humiliation hurts. Like being told you're not good enough to attend your cousin's wedding." "Please," my aunt begged. "Just come. Stay for the ceremony. Leave after." "I'll decline," I said. "I'm celebrating today's win with my team, people who valued me long before the headlines." I ended the call and blocked the number. 15 minutes later, Daniel called, laughing. "It's chaos. Guests are watching your press conference. Vanessa's having a breakdown. Uncle Robert's trying to explain your absence. Gregory's father said, 'We excluded the one family member with integrity?' It's incredible." "I didn't mean to hurt anyone," I said. "The timing was perfect," Daniel replied. "And I'm proud of you, not for the fame but because you stayed true to yourself." That night, all 3 local stations covered the education initiative. One channel profiled the foundation showing teachers, students, and our impact. My phone buzzed nonstop. Family members I hadn't heard from in years suddenly cared. I ignored them. The only call I took was from Grandma. "Emma, I just watched the news," she said. "Your mother would be so proud. Mom had died when I was 19. She was a teacher who believed in education for all. The foundation was built on her values." "Thanks, Grandma. Your Aunt Margaret called me," she said, "crying that you embarrassed the family." I told her the real embarrassment was excluding someone doing more good than the rest combined. I smiled. "You didn't have to say that." "I did," Grandma said. "They care too much about status. You care about change. That's what matters." Daniel kept texting updates. The wedding was a disaster. Guests talked about the foundation instead of the couple. Social media posts were awkward. Photos cropped, captions vague. Vanessa called the next day. Then my uncle. Then my aunt. I ignored them all. A week later, Vanessa came to my office. "Emma," my receptionist said, "your cousin's here. She says it's important." "Send her in," I said. Vanessa looked exhausted. No makeup, plain clothes. She sat without being asked. "Everyone's talking about how I excluded you," she said. "My wedding's now the one where the bride uninvited her successful cousin. Gregory's parents are mortified. My mother-in-law keeps asking why I didn't recognize your importance." "I'm sorry you're going through that," I said. "Are you?" she asked. "It feels like you timed everything to embarrass me." "The press conference was planned months ago," I said. "Before your wedding date. You could have told us about your foundation," she said. "I did," I said. "You just didn't care. You heard, nonprofit, and assumed I wasn't successful. That was your choice." She sat quietly for a long time. "I was wrong," she said at last. "I judged you by appearance. I'm sorry." It was the most honest thing she'd ever said. "I accept your apology," I said. "But I didn't build this foundation to prove anything. I did it because I believe in it." "I know," she said softly. "You have real success." I chased image. We talked for an hour. Not perfect but honest. The foundation grew stronger. We expanded programs, advised cities, and testified before Congress. Our model shaped national policy. Family dynamics shifted slowly. Uncle Robert stayed stubborn. Aunt Margaret stayed uneasy. But Daniel and I grew closer. Grandma became our biggest supporter. And Vanessa and I built something real, finally honest. I learned something. Real success isn't about approval. It's about purpose. I'd been successful long before the media noticed. Their attention didn't make it real. My family's praise didn't define it. I was successful because I built something that mattered. Something that changed lives and would last long after Vanessa's wedding was forgotten. Everything else was just noise. And I stopped listening to noise years ago.